Okay, so I'm just out shopping, and I'm seeing all this beautiful food all over the place. You got your hanging chickens and stuff like that, and you know, it kind of brings to mind a favorite Nintendo character of mine. It's Kirby, and I'm playing the new Kirby game for the Game Boy Advance. It's called Kirby's Nightmare in Dreamland. Now, Kirby, as you may know, is a crazy character because, man, dude likes to eat. That guy can eat anything, and basically that's what you do throughout this game. You run around in all these different 2D levels. You're cruising around, you're swimming, you're flying, you're blasting through all kinds of rocks to get to secret areas and stuff. And the big deal is you gobble up all your enemies and you assume their power. And now that's a pretty cool and innovative design concept that I've always enjoyed in the Kirby series, and it's done beautifully on this Game Boy Advance cartridge. There's all kinds of great powers. You get these little electric boomerangs, you got lightning attacks, you can turn into this big heavy creature and roll down the hill. Now, what's also cool about the Game Boy Advance game is that this is the first time you can actually play through the adventure in cooperative mode with up to 3 friends. That's right, 4 people at a time can play this game if you link up all your Game Boys properly, which is kind of fun. And there's also a bunch of mini games in this thing as well. You've got this little quick draw game where you have to press the A button faster than everybody else on screen. There's this bomb tennis thing where you're beating on this bomb and you're trying to make sure that it doesn't hit you and explode on you, and it's sort of like a keep away kind of thing, kind of fun. But the niftiest little mini game in this thing is Kirby's Air Ride, which kind of reminds me of Uniracers, a classic Super Nintendo game that we'll probably do in Buried Treasure sometime. In this thing, Kirby is actually grinding on this rail as it's sliding all over the place. It's completely random, so it's different every time you play it, and you can play it with up to 3 other people at the same time. Now, there's one thing to keep in mind when you're playing any Kirby game is that they're really made for kids, and the difficulty level in this thing isn't that high. So if you're a very experienced gamer and you've played lots of these 2D scrollers before, it's going to take you no time to beat this thing. But even still, I had fun. There's only one character in the whole universe of video game characters that does what Kirby does, and, you know, he's crazy. I'm going to give Kirby's Nightmare in Dreamland 8.5 out of 10. We're going to talk about Haven Call of the King. This one's for the PlayStation 2, but it's also up for the Xbox and GameCube. It's from Traveler's Tales and Midway. What'd you think of this one?
Well, here's a game that tries to do a lot of different game genres all in one.
Right.
You know, for the most part, it's a third-person kind of platform type experience.
Action-adventure kind of game.
But there's so much more.
Yeah.
You can take boats, you can fly planes, you
get a jetpack, you can go underwater, you can go swimming, there's gliders that you can hop onto. I love this sort of little electro rope thing that you fly on.
It's like an electric zip line. I was surprised at the quality of this game, and I'll tell you why. Because this game has unfairly been getting smashed in the press.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people, to my surprise, have not liked this game. I really can't see it. I thought it was a well-rounded game.
Ouch! Oh, no, you be careful. You're mocking forces you couldn't possibly understand.
Well, I think you just like banging the gong.
There's no load times in the thing, so you're just running around, running from one area to the next. The environments are beautiful. I didn't like all of the characters, though. I mean, right off the top, you meet this giant ogre-type guy who sort of treats Haven badly, and he just looked really weird. It looked like this sort of flat puppet.
Oh, no. It would be Skimpton. I bet he's still mad at me about his foot. I hit it with my pickaxe. I thought it was a rock.
I'd actually disagree with you there. I like the characters, and I thought they did a good job of having a lot of different variety of characters in the game. Even the people walking around the world who kind of live in this environment.
It's certainly well populated.
Walking around, you know. The music in this game is really spectacular, I thought.
Awesome.
It's got this kind of like, it's like orchestrated, but there's some little techno and rock. It's just really, really awesome music. I mean, so much so that we found ourselves...
We were making up lyrics and singing it. One thing I didn't like about the yo-yo, when you start off at least, is that the yo-yo reach isn't that long, and you're busting stuff that blows up, and if you're standing too close, you're constantly getting hurt, and that gets to be a little bit frustrating.
You can make your yo-yo longer, though.
Yeah, you can power up your yo-yo as you go through the game.
Well, what I found most interesting about the game is I was cruising the Judgment Day forums over at G4TV.com, and somebody mentioned that they thought that the cover of Haven, of the game, looked kind of familiar. Now I have this here. Who does this kind of maybe look? Now,
find that there were quite a few invisible walls in the game, which is my pet peeve. There was too many of those. But the pace of the game is excellent, and the action is very, very good. I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10.
I'm giving it an 8.
On the positive side, we're very impressed by the design of this game. The graphics are very good. We love the music of Haven. It's incredible. And there's so much action and variety in Haven's gameplay. It's an incredible value.
You know, there's really not too many negatives overall in this game, except for a few invisible walls and the fact that the cover looks like Victor Lucas.
We know there's probably a few Xbox owners out there that are a little bit envious of their GameCube owning brothers and sisters because they have a wireless controller that they can call their own. It's called the Wavebird. Well, Mad Catz wasn't about to let them have all the glory. They've created an Xbox wireless controller that's called the Lynx.
The action and the responsiveness of this thing is really unbelievable.
It's very good.
There's no way that you can tell that you're not playing with a wire. Now, the one problem I did have, though, is that the grips don't feel...
It does feel different than the regular Xbox
It's like
controller.
your buttons are kind of positioned a little differently.
Well, you know what it is? It's the thumbstick. The right thumbstick is too far over.
It does have a battery light on it as well,
right.
So you can tell when the AA batteries are getting low.
I like the button layout and the actual buttons themselves, the action buttons on the controller. They're all big, sort of like little candy drops on top of the controller.
And
nice
they are the circular ones,
yes.
Not the jelly bean ones we hate so much.
And they're positioned properly.
Positioned like a cross, not off center, so that's good.
And the white and black buttons are positioned just like the Xbox controller S. And start and back are in the center where they should be, not on the side. If you're going to use the Xbox Live communicator, obviously they've put all of the communication stuff, the wireless communication stuff in this controller, so there's no room for the communicator in the device. You have to stick it into the little port that plugs into the controller port on your Xbox. You can still communicate and be wireless at the same time, which is good. It's just that you have to sit right next to your Xbox. All in all, I was pretty impressed with this Lynx controller. I'm going to recommend it.
I'm going to recommend it as well. On the positive side, it's wireless. It has big buttons laid out the way we like, similar to the controller S. And finally, you can use your Xbox communicator with this device, although you're still going to have a wire attached to your head.
The grips on the Lynx are a little bit fatter than the Xbox controller S, so that pushes the right thumbstick a little bit further over than you'd like. And the most important thing to consider is the $60 price tag. Stick around, we're going to be right back with a look at Hot Wheels Velocity X Maximum Justice for the PlayStation 2.
Can the name get any longer?